Hi there, Christopher here. Brief update, first one for the year of 2026. And this one's going to be a little bit more in the weeds, so not a nice screen capture with all kinds of interactions, but I'm going to go through a lot of screenshots covering a handful of things, which are unilateral exit, which is brand new. Fee summary is also new, and then some details about the activity and the console. So unilateral exit didn't exist in the app before. But it is something that is super essential to Ark. This is your lifeline. So in Ark, a server helps you facilitate your payments. So a whole bunch of people register or use the server, and the server kind of batches all those payments together, and that's how they're more efficient and fast and cheap. So, but what if the server goes away? So that's what this addresses. In case the server goes away, you have your recovery phrase, you have your kind of virtual UTXO, you have all the data that you need to independently then create a transaction that you can broadcast on the regular Bitcoin network without use of the server, without anything in Ark really, to then get your money back. So if the server goes away, they can't take your money, you're still good to go. Now, there are a lot of technical steps in this process. It's quite complex. It can also be a little bit expensive. Users should not really ever do this unless they are in an emergency. So I'm still working through a lot of this stuff, but I'm just going to go through the process here. So basically, the user understands they have a payments balance, which is using for Ark, that's for payments. Then they have a savings balance, which is Bitcoin network. Now, the idea here is that server handles the payments balance, right, and they go away. So I can still get the money from the payments back into the savings, so it's just on the regular Bitcoin network. Now, this option here is currently, I put it in the danger zone. I called it here, claim your Bitcoin. The technical term is unilateral exit. I still think claim your Bitcoin is not really good. I'm thinking about changing it to recover payments balance. So there's a clear connection to a term the user already understands, and recover also seems clear, right? It's like it's gone missing or lost or stuck. I'm going to recover it now. I don't know about if danger zone's right here, but that's where I'm at right now. Then there's a very quick introduction here, what this means. You put your coins back in the wallet. Tells you what to expect. It takes about 24 hours. It cannot be canceled. Then there's the amount. It might be good to put a fee estimate in here as well. Haven't quite figured out how to do that yet. So here basically you're saying, let's go, let's do this. You're confirming it, start exit, okay. And then we are kind of in this phase where internally there's kind of a state machine that goes through several steps. So there's right now you can tell the language is not great, exit in progress. It should be called recovery in progress, whatever. Amount being exited, and it shows this technical stuff that should all be hidden. It should, I'm not quite sure why these are kind of should be the same thing. It should show you this process here, how long it might take. I think I'm going to remove the blocks. I don't think the term challenge period is particularly good. So there's a lot of cleanup to do here. It should just tell you you're exiting this amount or recovering this amount. It's going to take X hours. Come back later. And then in the activity list at the top, you're going to see also this box here show up. That's really rough right now. That's just going to keep you informed about this ongoing process and then tell you when you need to do something. Then at some point you come back, and then it says finalize your claim. So that's where basically all this internal processes happen. And now we have our transaction that we can broadcast on the regular Bitcoin network that's going to take the money that we had in payments and put it into regular Bitcoin address, that this wallet that we own. There should also be a fee estimate here. And then, you know, I'm claiming it. I need some contrast fixing. And then that needs confirmation, like a regular Bitcoin transaction, and then that will be complete. So that's kind of the process there. As you can see, it is really shaky right now, but we'll get there. So something else related to this here was the Bark and Bark bindings, Swift bindings were updated. So now the whole data structure of the transactions has changed. So there was a lot of work in here. And I made a bunch of changes as well. So previously it was always like a send or a receive. Now there are the different categories. There are internal transfers. So if I offboard or onboard, it's a technical term, but I basically move from one balance to another. That is called a transfer. So I can transfer two savings, transfer two payments. It's an internal thing where I pay the fees. And then there's this balance refreshing that should also not show zero. That should basically tell me how much of the fees were deducted to process this. So there's a lot of detail in here. Here you can also see there's this claim, transfer, refresh. Then I'm also adding whether the language, the colors, everything updates here, whether it is started, pending, successful, or failed. So everything here updates accordingly, but there's also a whole bunch of visual details to work through. And there's stuff like where it's either failed or done. There's not really an ongoing process. Like an on-chain transaction, we know it takes time to confirm, while let's say a Lightning invoice is pretty much instant, or if I do an Ark payment to another person on the same server, it's basically instant. So there's a lot of normalization happening under the hood here. But basically, the user should always know, did I receive, send, or was it some internal thing that I did? So these items are getting quite complex in terms of processing this information and visualizing it in a simple way. And then the transaction details here, also don't look the greatest right now. Anyhow, next thing, what I also added a first version of is this fee summary here. This is something that I've wanted for a long time. So basically also in the settings, you can access a fee summary. And here we basically just tally up all the fees paid. So if you look at Western Union or Visa or payment companies, one of their big things is they always say, we have the lowest fees, we have the best fees. So if Ark is actually all about low fees and instant payments, then we should be able to make that case very well too. And we can just do a little bit of math and show that to the user so they don't have to guess. So this is a very basic wallet here where there's not a lot of activity, but basically at the top I want to say your fee rate. Fee rate is how many fees you paid based on how much Bitcoin you sent. So it's the sent amount. You don't care about the receives. And I think the internal transfers are also a little bit separate. So the top it should just say your average fee is 0.5%. And if you know that Visa takes 2% or some other blockchain, whatever, takes 1%, then you're like, great, saving money here. That's awesome. And then you can get different breakdowns by type. This is all really, really rough, kind of the first AI draft. Different categories, on-chain fees, off-chain fees. Ideally, with Arké, you want as much of it happen off-chain because it's so much lower, but sometimes you can't. Then it breaks down internal transfers, so that is kind of the maintenance overhead. These are the refreshes, the offboards, onboards, and potentially those unilateral exits. Ideally, if you do it well, you're only going to have the occasional refresh in here, I think. But yeah, this is also kind of a mess here. And then at the bottom, there's this efficiency metrics. That is also something to be figured out. And maybe in the end, there's like a nice graph over time or so. But I think the first, like I said, this is like a first AI draft here. But I think this is a really important screen, and I wanted to get it in. Something else I have to update is the console. Previously, in the first version of Arké, it just used the Bark command line tool, so I could just pipe the commands here directly to this command line tool. But and that's a really great interaction. But now I need to update this where I kind of have a fake command line that converts the commands into functions on my wallet manager class that handles these things. Also made a lot of updates to the transitions and the styling of some of these modals here. There's a lot of visual stuff and tweaks. You can see a bit of an first version of the unilateral exit screens, lots of iterations kind of all over the place. So it's coming together, but it's a lot to work through. And I think some of these are the unilateral exit, the fee summary. These are some of the remaining big pieces. And if I can get all of that stuff sorted out and polished, then I think it's in pretty good shape. And hopefully we can get on test flights soon and do some proper testing. So hopefully this all looks good. If you have any feedback, always happy to hear it. Let me know. Thanks.